Hey, I'm Chris. Today I'm joined with Katie. She is with our Code Enforcement Division of the Floyd County Police Department. Today we're in one of our areas of the community talking about the job that Katie does. We also want to talk about a cleanup that's being done in the Lindale area and how the police department's working with the community and our other government agencies to try and get that work done. So tell me what it is that you do in code enforcement.
Code enforcement is basically the enforcement of all um, county ordinances, any IPMC, which is the International Property and Maintenance Code, like building inspection enforces, and then we also enforce under Georgia law for the Litter and Abatement Act.
So tell me what's an example of something that the county code might address in regard to somebody's property? What's an example of something like that?
We handle everything from dogs being illegally tethered out to accumulation of rubbish and debris, junk motor vehicles, scrap tires, and everything in between.
So something that a lot of people probably don't know is we do address animal cases. We assist animal control in that, but we're also looking at those tire cases, junk that's in the front yard, things like that. What's the importance of us doing that job? What does code enforcement do for the community?
With code enforcement, our ultimate goal is just to have a nice, clean area for people to live in. It increases our property value. It actually causes crime to go down.
So our job is to go out and to really just clean up the community and make it a better place to live for folks. Right now we're in Lindale. As many of you know, this is an old mill village. And a lot of the people that work in the mill still live here. There's some folks that really love this community. As a matter of fact, the people that live here really love the place that they live in their hometown. What are we doing in Lindale to try to improve the community?
We are currently engaged in an 8 to 10 week cleanup project here in Lindale. We are going door to door through several of the mill villages, addressing different issues that need to be taken care of as far as the litter and debris to abandoned houses. We're allowing time for cleanup and improvements to be made. We're actually going to be hosting a dumpster day towards the end of it.
Okay.
To try to help clean the community up, get a little community spirit back in here.
So what are some things that you're seeing? What are the most common things that you're seeing?
Most common is abandoned houses that are just completely run down, like the one behind us.
So this is a case of an absent owner.
Yes.
They own the property. They don't live here, so they're not really vested in the community. They may own some property, but we're really trying to make it worth their while to come out and clean up this property. For the most part, have you had any problems? Does it seem like everybody's pretty much doing what they need to do to get cleaned up?
For the most part, there's been a lot of positive results. We've still got some that we're going to have to work with.
And some of that is just access. That's why we're doing this dumpster day, is to give people the access to come out and get cleaned up.
You know, I guess basically what got it started is being fifth generation right there in the cotton mill, and I was the last of 6 to leave Lindale Manufacturing when we closed in 2001. They kept a small skeleton crew of people, and it eventually got down to 6 of us. And we stayed through 3 ownerships of the mill after it closed. And I was one of the last of the 6 to leave, and I am the only one of us 6 still living. So being as a little boy growing up, seeing what it was and watching the demise of the mill close, over a period from 2001 until early 2013, the community around the heartbeat, just kind of began to wither away. Less activity was happening here at the creek, less activity around the duck pond. The ducks even went back over to Jamestown because we had to drain the creek for the safety of the community. The first organized work day was February of 2013. We had 78 volunteers show up for a one-day work day. We began sawing trees out of the creek from the grist mill to the dam behind the cotton mill. I believe, if I can remember right, I think we hauled about 85 dump truck loads of trees out of this creek. After that, it just got to be more and more and more, you know. Well, what else can you do to make something better? We repaired the bridge, got the bridge in operation again, the light post working again. And just from there, it just, community interest, you know, got really big. You know, we built a new star to go up between the stacks. I mean, just numerous things happened and are still happening today, just, you know, for that one movement.
And there's so much that you've done, but the community relies on the police department at a certain point to go in and work with property owners and renters that are here now. We've talked a lot about absent landlords, those people who own property here but they live somewhere else. They don't have the same vested interest that you do. So the police department is working to try to make contact with those people.
Right.
We're working to try to make those houses a little more respectable looking, because like we talked about earlier, it starts with one thing happening that may get broken down. If it's not addressed, it snowballs into something bigger.
Yes, it does.
And that could be unmanageable. Right now we're working with a timeline. We plan to be successful with this. We want Lindale to be something that we're proud of, and that the folks that live here can also be proud of. So we're embracing Tim's dream, and we want to bring that back to the folks of Floyd County and also Lindale. So we've talked a lot about what the community's doing on their own, the neighbors and everybody's coming together. We spoke with Tim Reynolds, and he's talked about just the history of Lindale and how everybody that lives here and has grown up here have come together. But you know, there's just so much that neighbors on their own can do. So that's where government can step in and sometimes work to make conditions better. We're here with Scotty Hancock. He's also a Lindale native, and he's part of this project where we're working to restore Lindale. Can you just talk about a little bit of that and what we're doing to work and make our home and our community better?
Yeah, Chris, you know, it's been a struggle to get a lot of the things done, like you said, that people want to do. People aren't able to do it. Either, you know, you and I talked about this, either people are disabled or they can't do it, or they just don't have the ability. And that gives us an opportunity where we can come in and help out in many different ways. And then there's some people that just don't want to do it and that don't care about their communities. And there's ways that we can use that through enforcement, which is kind of where we're at right now with animal control and with our code enforcement and with our building inspector's office. You know, we're wanting to be able to clean the community up for those who care about the community, and those that don't care about the community. If they don't want to live here and they don't want to work within the ordinances of the county, then we have means of enforcement and fines and ways that we can try to lean on them a little bit to get them to do these things.
It is not all about the money.
Right.
That's not at all what we're doing. And actually, in the week or two that we've been doing this project, just riding around, we've seen some success. And there's property that it looked hopeless, and it's starting to really see signs of life now.
Yeah. Chris and I were riding around today looking, and there's a house that had burned down that had been piled up. A gentleman was out there cleaning that up. There were some couches and chairs out by the road on Grove Street, and those have been cleaned up since the last time I come by. There's been some property over off Manco Drive that looks a whole lot better. There's a lot of progress that's being made, and this initially came out of concerns of the citizens as a complaint to us, and we have tried this in the past, and you know, it would stay clean for a little while and then it would just go right back to the way it was. But our plans now are to work with the landlords and you know, get them to enforce the ordinances as well, and get them to have the tenants to be able to clean up and do the things that they're supposed to do. You know, the landlords bear some of the burden with the responsibility of the tenants not doing the things they're supposed to.
And we've been sending out notices on
Yes.
y'all's behalf to do that, right?
Yes. We've written several notices. We've written tickets. There's a letter that I personally wrote that is given out to each landlord once a citation or a warning is written. We're mailing them a personal letter from me, just basically saying, please help us get this cleaned up. We're reviewing our ordinances to find ways that we could find the landlord if they don't do it over a period of time. We're looking at, through our legal team, to figure out how to do that as well. We're planning on having a free dump day. We've done this before for those that don't have the ability or can't afford to go take their property and couches and things like that to the landfill. But do know that we have a free remote site over at Midway Park too, that people can take their garbage and stuff over there for free. There's no charge to it. I do want to say that I've made this statement before. It is not the government's responsibility to take care of private property. That's the citizen's responsibility. But when your private property, or you're not cleaning it up, starts impeding on others and causing trouble within the community, there's a broken window theory that Chris and I talk about. You know, Chris brought it up. If you have one broken window in a community, and then there's another broken window, and then comes the spray painting on the house, and then there comes the drugs being sold in the house, and then the next neighbor thinks, well, I can move in, they're not keeping theirs up, I can do that. And that's kind of what's happened here in Lindale. People have to take personal responsibility. We're going to come in here and try to clean it up, you know, and if those people don't want to abide by our ordinances in our county and in our community, then they need to find somewhere else to live.
Right.